Hello, welcome. Everybody take a few minutes to get situated. We're so excited to have everyone here. We're going to give people a few minutes to join. Let us know in the chat maybe where you're joining from, if you're a Best Bees client, if you want to be a Best Bees client. We're going to launch a poll here in a minute and make sure to get your answers in, and let's see what everybody thinks. Again, we're just going to wait a few minutes, make sure people have time to join before we get started here. If you've never had different kinds of honey, or you're not sure if you've had different kinds of honey, there's that last answer there. And beeswax candles, they burn pretty slowly. We like those as well.
I'd love to say hello to everybody. It's great to see participants piling in. Thank you for your time on this summer day. In the chat, I have started us going over where we're joining from. So greetings from Cape Cod, Massachusetts today. I'd love to know where everybody else is tuning in from.
Yeah, and I'm joining from New York City, from Queens. So we've got all up and down the East Coast so far.
Well, Queens is the best borough for bees, of course. And for our topic today, I'm talking about amazing women, talking about the female power of a beehive.
Exactly. Utah. All right. Lots of people. Thank you for joining us. I just want to make sure everyone knows, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, not in the chat, which we're all chatting in right now. We'll be answering questions in the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. So make sure you put them there and we'll get to them.
Pakistan, beautiful. We saw registrants from all around the world. It's so thrilling to be able to connect to people and inspire everybody. Bees are worldwide. Every culture connects. When we were writing our book, The Bee, A Natural History, it was really incredible to see religious connections across the spectrum, cultural connections, learning about the history of honey carts in Persia and how deeply connected basically every human culture is with honey and bees. So it really brings us together, this tie that binds.
Absolutely. Thanks, Noah. We're just going to give everybody one more minute to join us. Our poll. Look at that. See, bees are a popular pollinator, followed by butterflies. Glad to see the bats are an answer there as well. If you didn't know, bats are also pollinators. And we've got lots of people who love the mountains. Awesome. All right, well, we're about 3 minutes in. Why don't we start off with some introductions? So I'll go. My name's Nola. I've been at Best Bees since 2016. I started as a beekeeper, have kind of woven my way through a bunch of different roles here at Best Bees, and I'm currently the director of product fulfillment. So I'm running the department of all of our products, all of our programming, which we're about to get into. Throughout that time, I've gotten a master's degree in environmental science and public policy, and I'm super passionate about sustainability initiatives and everything that we're going to get into here. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Noah.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. My name is Noah Wilson Rich. I have a PhD in bees and biology, and my passion is really helping people to change their perspective on gray spaces, whether that's a rooftop or even a lawn, and how we can transform that to thriving biodiverse green spaces. So green rooftops, amenity decks, gardens, to get fresh carrots for our kids on the New York City rooftop. Why can't we do that? Why is that so controversial? And how do we help lift each other as a society of humans, not just beekeepers, but to create opportunities in a business model? And that's part of why I'm so excited to present with you, Nola. We have co-published scientific papers together looking at the benefits of different bee products. So venom, honey, beeswax, propolis, and more, and understanding how they help human health. And so much of the world goes beyond just the bees and the literal aspect, but as we'll learn today from our Hunt's Honey team, we're going to see how this really has a social enterprise benefit. And so I'm just so thrilled that we're joined today by the Hunt's Honey team. So maybe I'll pass the mic over to Sarah to introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sarah. I'm the Senior Director at Hunt's Honey. I have a master's in theology, and I am committed to and convinced of the role of community in the healing process for survivors of trauma. And I will pass the mic over to Bobbie.
Hi, I am Bobbie. I am the production manager for Hunt's Honey, as well as their head beekeeper, but I'm also a community member here and a part of Drink at the Well. And I have a passion for what I do as a beekeeper, as well as the community of women around me here. So thank you for having us.
Last but not least, Mandy.
Hello, everyone. I am Mandy Memel. I'm founder, executive director of Hunt's Honey and The Well. And I'm here because we're helping women to rise through a social enterprise that happens to incorporate bees and honey and products made from it.
Amazing. Thank you all for joining us. We're so excited to see what conversations get picked up here. So let's head into our agenda. We're going to talk about why companies enact sustainability initiatives and challenges that can come with them. We'll touch on pollinator programs, what they are, and how they play a critical role in engagement and overcoming those challenges with sustainability initiatives. And then we're going to take a look at two case studies with two of our amazing clients who have really taken these pollinator programs and run with them to meet their own sustainability goals. And then we're also going to hear from the lovely ladies at Hunt's Honey and their mission and our partnership.
Sustainability initiatives are just one part of demonstrating corporate social responsibility, often CSR as an acronym. Now, corporate social responsibility is the concept that a business has a responsibility to contribute to the greater good, not just make profits. They certainly go hand in hand. We see consumer spending patterns favoring businesses that do good. It really does drive business. Corporate social responsibility practices can increase employee retention. They can raise workplace morale, especially for companies that want to bring employees in to get people back to the office, as well as engage people who are working remotely. Corporate social responsibility promotes a positive brand image, and it attracts prospective employees, customers, and investors. And that's all on top of helping to protect and preserve our planet. Now, the trouble is that the sustainability initiatives that exist can feel really abstract or vague or distant to those who aren't directly involved. Think about solar panels or windmills or even net zero carbon goals. They don't necessarily engage and involve everybody. Sustainability initiatives are naturally future focused, while people are present focused. So changes emerge slowly over time, and people are oriented towards the instant gratification of fast and noticeable results. But without consistent engagement, efforts may go unnoticed or underappreciated. Now, pollinator programs in particular consist of two parts. So we have on-site apiaries, beehives, bee hotels, even monarch butterfly habitat. They're professionally managed. So that's like what the Best Bees company does. We install and manage research beehives. Additional products and programming and reporting are all enhancements to on-site pollinator programs. Bees could start contributing to their health and the ecosystem immediately through their role as pollinators. They promote plants that take in carbon through photosynthesis. So if you eat food, you need bees. And if you breathe air, you also need bees to produce oxygen. In fact, the plants that bees promote take in about half of the atmospheric carbon released annually through human activity. Now, beehives are a tangible representation of a company's larger commitment to their environment and their sustainability goals. And in this way, they counter the abstract and distant nature of sustainability initiatives. Now, tangible engagement opportunities, like what Hunt's Honey produces here, we'll get into that momentarily, can strengthen the community's connection to the abstract sustainability initiative. Gifts, events, workshops, educational experiences, public reporting, all of these are tangible and immediate ways to generate your community's interest and their investment in your sustainability goals, both personal investment from an employee and tenant perspective, and a financial investment from an investor and a stakeholder perspective. Engagement methods can provide opportunities to give back to your community, which is really important to us, which can then improve workplace morale and boost a brand's public image. Now, increased engagement in sustainability initiatives raise awareness of the goals, they showcase our values, and knowledge is power. Once people have the sustainability goals in front of mind, they're more likely to take action themselves and contribute. Back over to you, Nola.
Thank you so much. Yes. So now we're going to take a look at some of these case studies that really embody what Noah was just talking about, bringing sustainability initiatives to your community. And that just furthers your sustainability agendas. And as soon as you have engagement, you know that, it takes the whole world to do this all together. So we're going to take a look at one of our clients, Excel Dryer. And how they took a live hive tour and leveraged it into an incredible engagement opportunity for their employees and the public. So a little bit of some preface for you is that our live hive tour, it's an in-person tour of your beehives, and it shows you how to inspect a beehive frame to frame. You get up close and personal with the bees, and you really see what our bee scientists are doing when they go out to your beehives. You get to follow along with us on a worksheet and be the scientist. We explain different beekeeping tools, answer questions. It's a great Q&A opportunity. We've got these adorable little pollinator pins that say that you're a pollinator champion, kind of like a Girl Scout, Boy Scout completing one of their tasks. So after all of this, they invited the public, and let's pass it back over to Noah to see a little bit about what their sustainability goals were and how they were met.
Yeah, Excel Dryer, it's a company that we're actually all familiar with their products. When you're washing your hands at a restroom and you want to be sustainable and not use up paper towels. I remember one of the TEDx events that I spoke at started off with a short video for sharing with people how we can be more sustainable by using one paper towel. We're always using a lot. You just have to fold it. So that's the trick. But a better trick, Excel Dryer's product, you can just use air. We love them, a sustainable company. Over the last 2 years, Excel Dryer has transformed their space on campus to better align with their sustainability goals. They wanted to do more. Excel Dryer, it's the creative of sustainable hand dryers. They want to champion sustainability efforts at their corporate practices as well as in their physical space. Their headquarters are WELL Building certified, so it's one way to add value to their real estate by getting accreditation. They prioritize the health and well-being of their employees and the building occupants. There's a concept called biophilia for where people are connecting to nature with real estate. So whether that's looking out over a green rooftop or having elements of nature all around like biodiversity and pollinators, it actually makes us feel better and it improves our health through the built environment. So a live hive tour from the Best Bees company to our client Excel Dryer gives them the opportunity to promote their support for pollinators, to show appreciation for their local community. And by putting on this unique event where they invited the community to attend, it increased interest in their sustainability goals through engagement. On top of their live hive tour, Excel Dryer contacted local press to inform them of the event. Good PR. They connected with local schools and nearby senior care facilities to invite them to attend, and they arranged for catering to host a picnic for the attendees after the hive tour. So all of this supported their goals, and it generated excellent publicity for their brand and their sustainability efforts. And here are some highlights from the event. So Nola, step us through what we're looking at.
Oops. Well, over here, we've got some excellent pictures from the event. So you see the local press over here in the top left, kind of moving over. You see the little images of the lunch that was shared after the event. Look at this community having fun all together, learning about bees, and even the kids that joined. So you see all the way on the right, bees are safe for kids. You can see that they just have a veil on, and they must have had it. This is a core memory for them, I'm sure. And over here on the bottom left, you see the labels of the honey that was harvested from Excel's hives. So they get to share this with their community. It's another tangible impact of, hey, here's where this honey came from. Come learn more. So we're really proud of them. Great. So we're going to go over to our second case study, and we're going to take a look at how one of our other events were leveraged with Lincoln Property Company. So they've got, I believe it's 6 hives over in Massachusetts, and they leveraged a honey tasting event and their apothecary products and their data reporting to connect their community and their pollinator program and greater sustainability goals. So like we did with the live hive tour, let's talk a little bit about the honey tasting event. This gives attendees a chance to sample 3 different flavors of raw honey. And what we've done actually is we've taken the pollen in those different flavors of honey and sequenced the DNA. So we know exactly what plants this DNA or the honey comes from. So when you're tasting it, you can look out for notes of, I know what this flower smells like, maybe I can taste it here too. So those are all out on the table. You can see them in front of the honey flavors in this picture. And we also have a honey flavor wheel. So that really illustrates the range of flavor profiles found in the honey. I know when I'm tasting honey, I'm not exactly sure how to describe the flavors that I'm tasting. So that's kind of gives your memory a little jog for what vocabulary words I can use to describe what I'm tasting. And then along with the honey that you can taste, we've got mini jars of honey as well. And those are nice little giveaways for the attendees. They can take home their favorite flavor, or maybe they want to take home their least favorite flavor and say, look, smell this funky honey to their friends, who knows. So we appreciate the impact of biodiversity in that honey DNA testing, and it'll inform our landscaping choices, what we know should be out there and we're not seeing in the honey DNA. There's a lot of implications for what our honey DNA reporting can do for you and your sustainability goals. So Noah, talk to us about what Lincoln Property Company's goals were for the honey tasting event.
Yeah, it's really fun. And this is honestly where Hunt's Honey starts to come in, because with Best Bees, we're researchers, we're scientists, we're PhD led. We've got research at the heart of everything that we do. So even when we're tasting honey, we're thinking, well, what information does this have in here? And what more can we do with it beyond just what any beekeeping service could do? Here are the bees, here's the honey. But to meet a sustainability goal, it's really got to be connected to research and data and biodiversity for other species of pollinator plants, pollinator species, and to really make an impact, it has to be connected to the community. And we're sharing with you how we do this in a business model. It's really heartwarming for me. With Lincoln Property Company as a client, their goals were to generate excitement for their pollinator program. They do this by showcasing their honey from their own beehives. They wanted to promote some interest in their pollinators in general and what they contribute to the environment, to raise awareness for the importance, and of course, to provide a fun and unique experience that connects their community to the abstract goal of improving biodiversity and protecting pollinator health. Now, on the table, they also had their Lincoln Property Company honey that was co-branded from their hives, paired with their honey DNA report that details their specific plants in their area, telling people what more they can plant, picking out the native plants, picking out the food crops, picking out the carbon capture plants. Copies of their end of the year bee health report are included on the table. And drum roll, the Best Bees and Hunt's Honey handcrafted all natural beeswax lip balm. They also make soaps and candles, and I can't wait for you to hear from them. When we're developing our product together with Hunt's Honey, they do amazing things. We listen to our clients like Lincoln Company Properties to understand what they value most. And it was important that we partnered with a vendor who had a strong social mission. This allows us to stay true to our values also, while giving our clients the opportunity to feel good about the gifts that they receive. This is why we partnered with Hunt's Honey to produce our apothecary products for our clients. So I'm going to pass the mic to Sarah and Bobbie from Hunt's Honey. You can hear from them directly. They're going to share more about their nonprofit's mission and our partnership together.
Perfect. Thank you, Noah. And I'm so excited to hear from you. So why don't you guys take it away?
I think Mandy, we're also going to hear from Mandy, our executive director and founder, and she's going to start us out.
Yeah, I came into the area of Curtis Bay, southeast corner of Baltimore years ago after a medical mission trip to Africa, and came into my very own city and discovered that it was a very underserved, underprivileged area, one of the poorest communities in Baltimore. So in 2013, The Well became a nonprofit organization, and we began serving women. The community is comprised of mostly women, began serving women and children who were coming out of very difficult circumstances. The common denominator is trauma. And we're working with women survivors of things like exploitation, trafficking, addiction, abuse. And I decided to multiply that, and therefore started a program in 2013. Fast forward, couple years later, 5 years later, we had an interest in launching Hunt's Honey, or starting a social enterprise. So as we began those 20 years ago, we became a community of women being transformed, that we are not somebody greater or better coming to help somebody who's less than, but that we were a community culture, a community of women coming in to learn from one another, to grow with one another, to intersect with one another, and realize we're not that very different after all. And utilizing our lives, our skills to make change across our own lives, the lives of the women that we're loving, and our community, and our city. It wasn't long before we realized, hey, this is great. Glad we have this core life development program, but we really have a desire to employ women. And so with the help of another organization in Nashville, Tennessee, after visiting, we decided we wanted to launch our own social enterprise so that we could employ the women that we were working with in the Curtis Bay area and now beyond. We very quickly became a regional organization. And so we launched Hunt's Honey. There was a moment, yeah, you can go to the next slide. There was a moment in our community years ago, about 6 years ago, there was a fire that destroyed about 11 row homes, displaced 23 community members. It was actually 23 families that it displaced. So you can imagine how people are living in our community. I came back from a vacation. I was on vacation when it happened, came back, sat in the field, and really was looking for divine inspiration and just meditating and seeking. I heard a land flowing with milk and honey, and I looked around at all the children playing on the playground, skateboarding, playing basketball, and what I really saw was a city that has been through a lot of traumatic circumstances, that was going to be used. The most unsuspecting people of the city was going to be used for great things, and that was going to start with us. And so fast forward, was sitting in a community meeting. The beekeeper got up to speak, and we'd been processing, what is our social enterprise going to be? What are we going to do? And beekeeper got up to speak, and he said, I started beehives this year, and normally we don't get a flow on the first year, but for some reason, our hives are overflowing with honey. And at that very moment, all I could hear in my head was a land flowing with milk and honey. I was sitting with a friend of mine, Angie, who is was one of our worker bees, is now one of our proud alumni, and helping us to grow Hunt's Honey. And I said, do you hear that? That's where it is. We're going to do raw local honey and products made with honey and beeswax. And we are going to grow women even more through providing healing work and a healthy community for women to come and learn to work, to grow together, and to create beautiful healing products, not only to change our lives, but to change the lives of people in Baltimore. And so I'll pass it on to Sarah. That's how we began, but I'm going to pass it to Sarah to tell you more about Hunt's Honey.
Yeah, so as Mandy's already said, being employed at Hunt's Honey, a woman is committing to a holistic life transformation process. And I'm going to let Bobbie tell you a little bit about some of the distinctives of what the program the women at Hunt's Honey are involved in when they're involved at the well.
Thanks, Sarah. So being at the well, it is a life development program. I continue to work on my life plans and goals as well as the other women. We check in every week with either our community advocates or with our mentor and one another. We are required to participate in group or individual therapies, which again, working on healing. There's the accountability piece, but there's also the healing parts to this whole program, and that's what we're really about. So making sure that somebody is actively taking part in their healing process as well, because we can't do everything for someone. They have to take part. So we do require that. We also have a lot of other opportunities for growth. When you put all this together, you're part of a healing community. And, it's a beautiful picture when it all fits together. And to be able to see people actively in that process is a beautiful thing. And I would love for Sarah to continue and tell you a little bit more about our values.
Yes. So our values, we affectionately refer to one another around here as worker bees, as we see one another just like in a beehive. You're going to hear in a few minutes how so many of our, the way we live things out here, we see the way that people, the community that's in a beehive, we're in a way kind of paralleling that here. And we frequently refer to different things about that. So the term, it's an affectionate term for one another, but we also employ trauma-informed care practices here. I know that's very much a buzzword today, but it's actually a really important buzzword. That's why we say that we're survivors of trauma, period. We don't identify ourselves with things that most likely were symptoms of trauma, whether that is generational poverty related to addiction or other things, or mental health, or most likely a combination of a lot of those things. We just simply identify one another here as we're all survivors of trauma. Just to tell you a little bit more about that. In our workforce development program, we have built in time here to say, it takes a long time for many women to just become employable again. And we built in a significant grace period and on-ramp in that within our workforce development program here. And it's going to be a whole lot better, once again, from you to hear from our friend Bobbie about her experience.
Thanks, Sarah. So how beekeeping changed my life. So just a part of my story I will share with you, and that is this part. I came to work for Hunt's Honey in 2019 as a temp, and within about a month and a half, they came to me, they asked me to stay permanent. They also offered and asked to be interested in taking some beekeeping classes. And my little hippie heart was like, absolutely, that's like amazing. So I jumped on the opportunity. And at that time, I didn't realize what I was getting into. And I also at that time had this defeated mentality where I honestly did not think that at the age of 38 that I would have any more educational opportunities. I thought that I was done learning, and other than like little, you learn something new every day opportunities, that I was pretty much done. I also had a defeated sense of that I had nothing to contribute. I do come from generational poverty, and so a lot of times you're scared to step out of the comforts, well, not comforts, but the safety net of government assistance and what is familiar. So I had this defeated sense that I had nothing to contribute. I had no education, I had no training. And then Hunt's Honey offered me that opportunity. It opened up doors that I never thought possible. It opened up the opportunity for education. I have so many certificates. I have had the opportunity to go to the University of Canada, Saskatchewan, and do a certificate program for their beekeeping course. This little Baltimore City girl never knew that would be a possibility. And so it not only gave me that, but also for healing. I struggle with anxiety, not so much as I used to, but bees have truly been a healing factor for me with that. I am able in the moment to be present and not worry about all the things that are spinning in my head. Bees help me to center myself. I had a really great experience with my first time walking in a bee yard. I never in 100 million years expected or desired to capture a swarm. But the first day I walked into the bee yard, that opportunity presented itself. I was hesitant, but the experienced beekeeper that was there assured me that they were the most docile at this stage, and to just step out in faith. So I did so, and it truly was one of the most magical, calming experiences I've ever had in my life. And they continue to be. It's encouraged me. It's helped me to see that I have more potential than I ever thought possible. It has given me a world of education and possibilities for education. There's always research being done, papers being written, and it's just opened up so much for me. And now I love to be able to share and pass that on. And I'm also giving back to the environment, to my community, to the environment, and for future generations. And so I am truly grateful. And I will always be hopefully a part of beekeeping into my old age, lady age. But that's how beekeeping has helped change my life. And I know that it is doing it for so many others in other ways. So I look forward to continuing education and sharing that with others. So,
Wow, Bobbie,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It is truly a moving piece that it shows how social initiatives really pair so nicely with environmental initiatives. And for those of you who have never seen a swarm before, it is truly an amazing force of nature. And if it got Bobbie to, pick up and change everything about her life, you really know the power that bees hold. So we're going to move on. And we'd love to hear a little bit from you about bees as a vehicle for change.
Yeah, well, Bobbie, thank you, Bobbie. We sure appreciate you around here and love you so much. But like I mentioned before, we definitely see the beehive as a model for us of how we are to be the bee, and how there's so many metaphors of the self-sacrifice that's happening in the hive, and the working together for common good, and the working together for producing a product that is life-sustaining and human flourishing. You can begin to see and hear, right, that what's happening there is the exact same thing that's happening here at the corner of Church and Pennington. In my second year beekeeping class this year, there was a slide and it said, in the hive, the queen takes all of the blame and gets none of the credit. And I thought that could be the title of one of the best articles on leadership that there is out there. And that's modeled for us in a beehive. I thought that was so beautiful. We all know about temperature control in a beehive and what they do to stay warm or to cool off. And that is always through linking arms together. We talk about that here. About how we need one another, even to regulate our own emotions and our own selves, and the importance of that. And on the side, I read a lot of research on what's happening in the trauma-informed care field, and they're just coming up like this interpersonal neurobiology is headlining these days of the difference that we cannot heal apart from a community. And man, does a beehive show us that as well. I think on the next slide, you're going to see some pictures of Bobbie and I actually in our beehives are located. Bobbie's going to tell you about where they're located actually.
Thanks. So we have currently 6 hives, and we are partnered with a community garden up the street. It's about 3 or 4 blocks from here in Curtis Bay, South Baltimore City. And they allow us to keep our bees in the largest community bee yard in Maryland. So that's pretty cool that we're a part of that. Yeah. And we also now have they allowed us to build a shed up there this year so we could keep our supplies there. They've been amazing. And with that, it gives us room to also bring in we now have 4 beekeepers. So it allows us to all go up there and share in that and have the space to do so. So it's an amazing partnership. They do great for the community. And it's just a nice sanctuary for people who see concrete and bricks all the time to go up there and see nature and ducks and chickens, goats, bees, and it's fantastic. So it's beautiful.
Look how bright and beautiful those colors are. I mean, just walking by it, I'm sure would brighten up anybody's day. It's so gorgeous. And all that fresh wax on the comb over there. It looks so beautiful.
And kind of where are we headed in the future? There's rarely a day goes by that you won't hear a woman here saying that we exist for the next woman who is walking through the door. We are just a few weeks away from opening our very own storefront and marketplace in a neighboring community, Brooklyn, that shares the vulnerabilities of our community and the beautiful people of our community as well. And we're thrilled about this opening our own storefront right here in the middle of South Baltimore. We are very much looking to expand our beekeeping in the next 3 to 5 years. In 5 years, we would like to be producing half of our honey needs, which is a significant and hopeful leap. We have beekeepers and business men and women assisting us with that plan. And as we look around, we don't have to necessarily look around the country, but the proven model is around the country of offering free residential services for women up to 2 years. It's just greatly increases the opportunity for a transformative life plan to be happening. So we are looking to expand our residential services in the next couple of years, actually. So. And then I think the very last slide that we're going to be speaking on is we're just going to talk about why we're so grateful for this partnership. As Bobbie and Mandy and I contemplated this, where we came up with these 3 different buckets of why we're grateful. Bobbie's going to talk about the first 2, and I'll close at the end there.
Thanks. So product expansion, just Best Bees order that they have put in with us has given us the opportunity for a lot of growth here. So it has caused a lot of buzz in our hive, which is our production, whether we gave it a fun name. So, but with this order that Best Bees has given us, it has provided extra hours for a few women. It allowed us to also take on a new worker bee. That's, our worker bees. And so at that time, we kind of had her on hold because we weren't sure. We were in our slower part of the year. And with your order, it provided us to be able to hire another woman as well. It has helped one of our ladies become an expert in making candles for sure. And it's just overall given the whole group of women encouragement to see that people are in support and how you guys want to share in getting our name out there and supporting our mission as well. And also the pollinator expansion. Best Bees, we now have you as friends, and that we care about the same things, and that is increasing pollinators and getting out the word and supporting each other. We are all still a part of each other's community, so we're very thankful for your purchases, and just thank you so much for everything.
And we like to say people expansion because look at this, we have 60 new friends from this webinar, but also our friends at Best Bees. They share not only in our vision for the environment, but they share in our vision for human flourishing as well. And that means the world to us. So we're very grateful for our partnership with Best Bees.
Yeah. And just to add on to this, again, I've always learned throughout my environmental science knowledge that sustainability, a sustainable future, really sits on a 3-legged stool of economic, social, and environmental missions. And so this is kind of the exact embodiment of that 3-legged stool. We've got the product expansion, your economic mission is being reached, your pollinator expansion, pollination services to the world, that's being expanded. That's your environmental impact right there. And then your people expansion, making this community, giving back to your community and uplifting and empowering people to engage in your community and make that community a better place for all involved. That's your social impact and your social mission. So all of these things together, you can't have one without the other. All of this makes your sustainable future a more impactful reality. So, yeah.
I love this too. And I just have to say, but Bobbie, Sarah, Mandy, thank you so much for who you are, all that you do, the goodness you put out in the world. And with this economic model, your products are amazing. Our clients love them. We even have some big banks who just fund this through their amenities budget. I mean, even hospitality companies look for their VIP and how to treat others better and how to share. I mean, these products, this honey is what our community tastes like. This beeswax, as a bee scientist, it's always been a byproduct. I've never really looked at it in the same way that you've now shaped my perspective. When I look at a Hunt's Honey product, especially with the Best Bees co-label, I feel so proud, and I see honey and soap and candles totally differently now. I see people there, and I see community and environment and meaning and social impact. So Mandy, high five, we got, a couple of neighboring beehives here. And, the last thing I'll say when I give keynotes on leadership lessons from a hive, it's worker empowerment. It's always about the workers, even change management, whatever one worker bee, now honeybees, we're talking about the insects now, whatever they see, they come and they dance, they communicate it to their sisters. It's always the workers that are the ones who are leading the change, and they're driving, they're doing the good work in a way that's very similar to Hunt's Honey. And I just feel so inspired. So thank you for the work you do and for your partnership. And thanks to our clients out there who keep supporting us economically to create more opportunities.
Thanks, Noah. Exactly. So I want to get into some Q&A. We don't have a ton of questions in that chat, so if some are coming to your mind right now, go ahead. We've got the time. We do have one question here. So for Hunt's Honey, are you planning on expanding your geographic reach with Hunt's Honey? Also, I may have missed how the name originated. So let's give a little more background on that.
Yeah, I can share a little bit on that. We are absolutely looking to expand our reach. We are not only found in Maryland, but we are found in over, I think it's 90 retailers now, Sarah, is that correct? And spanning from Pennsylvania to Virginia, a little bit in Texas. So we've also in Nashville. So we've been able to get us out there. We don't want to stay small. We have a vision of employing 50, 75, 100 women survivors, and also giving them the opportunity to become the managers and the directors of the organization of that program. Hunt's Honey is Baltimore terminology for any of you who are familiar with Baltimore. Hunt's Honey came from the Baltimorese language, as we call it, where we affectionately call people Hun. So, hey, Hun, how are you today? Or, hey, Hun, are you going to the ocean? So these, and this kind of came from working women back in the 50s. Husband went off to war, women had to go back to work, and it just kind of came from kind of that era. And also historically the Irish language, but that's a whole nother story. But that's the derivative of Hunt's Honey. When I had kind of gotten the vision for Hunt's Honey, I had a friend that said, oh, we should call it Hunt's Honey. And she laughed really loud. And I said, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make Baltimore proud. We are making this Baltimore based. And if you read the names of some of the products, they even have some of that lingo, as in a wash bar, adding an R instead of wash bar. So that's Hunt's Honey.
Awesome. Thank you. And we got a response. What a beautiful organic name with meaning. So Noah, question for Noah, I believe. Any insight on bee venom products, as it has the potential to revolutionize the medical industry, especially cancer research?
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, we've talked about beeswax and honey a little bit here today. We know that there are so many different uses. Like one of my favorite uses for honey is actually with wound healing. So especially for geriatric care, this was developed on the battlefields just over human history to prevent infection. So for any wounds that won't heal, we see sometimes in hospitals even they coat gauze with honey. It blocks the oxygen, and so it prevents any like staph infections that require oxygen from forming. We know with beeswax, it's been used in medical devices. Here with soap, we're using these things to clean our bodies, even for skincare. When we think about the other products that bees use to improve their health, we don't always think about venom. What I've just shared here in the chat is back over to you, Nola. This is one of your research papers that shares a whole review of everything that's known about the health benefits to humans from the 6 products that bees make. And Nola and team researched everything that's been published with data from the Western medicine, as we might call it, with traditional Eastern medicine approaches for things that aren't based in data, but are just known for health over human history. Of the 6 products that bees make, venom has the most health benefits, which is totally surprising to many. We think, oh my gosh, that's the worst. Venom actually is used in modern medicine for targeted cancer tumor treatment. When venom, the active part is called melatonin, when that's added to a nanoparticle, what it's called, this little thing, it can be directed in the body to go to certain cancer tumors. It can be directed to go to T cells in our blood that are HIV infected, to actually have anti-HIV effectiveness with bee venom. I mean, it's incredible stuff. Sometimes people use Botox instead of Botox for cosmetic purposes, even like a lip venom plumper. There's so much to be discovered. And Nola, just thanks to you and your amazing work, we now all can just read it. This is available for free. Publishing research papers for free is unusual. Usually you have to pay $20 to read it, so nobody does. But Nola, because of your values in the community, you went through what's called an open access journal. So everybody feel welcome to share this far and wide, make some tea, curl on up, and enjoy all the details of human knowledge on this topic.
Noah, thank you so much for giving me that highlight. It would not have been possible without you or Best Bees. I started off at Best Bees as a co-op student at Northeastern University, and this was something I worked on at that time. So again, thank you for the opportunity. Also, we've got another question here in the Q&A section. I was just wondering what other products and services Best Bees and Huns Honey offer. If you don't mind, I'll start off answering some of this about the products and programming that we deliver. So we talked a little bit about the live hive tour and the honey tasting event. If a live hive tour doesn't sound something that's up your alley, maybe you've got an office full of people who are allergic to bees, who knows? But we've also got a pre-recorded hive tour where we go out to your hive, and we do a lot of talking about what's going on, what we're seeing, what we hope to see, the different methods of treatment we use to fight off some of those diseases that are really hurting the bee population these days. So we've got a recorded hive tour. We've also got a really fun, different event called our lip balm making workshop. So this was definitely inspired by Huns Honey and the products that we received from you. So you get a chance to have 50 people come and sit with a beekeeper. I kind of think of it as like a chef's table, but for bee products, where you get to come together and make some lip balm together. It smells absolutely delightful. And then in terms of other events, we've got a live course hosted with Noah. This is a chance for you to really sit down and get into the nitty-gritty details of bee health and biodiversity and pollinator health and what that does for our environment. You can have Noah come do a keynote. And of course, we've got a variety of products, our apothecary products with our lovely partners, Huns Honey. We've also got supplemental honey for our clients, as well as those pollinator pins I mentioned at the beginning. I'm rattling some off, but some other ones we've got are water sources. Like all living creatures, bees need water. They're usually going to ponds and puddles and streams and rivers nearby within 3 to 5 miles of their hive, but sometimes you just want to add that water source a little closer. So I'll give it over to Huns Honey to talk about some of the other products that you guys offer, maybe outside of our partnership.
I'm going to let Bobbie tell you about our products from Huns Honey, but I highly recommend you going to the website for both the Well and Huns Honey. It's on the last slide, just to see more about our services and programs. But what I do want to say about the Well is why our intensive programs are clearly for women, the 25 plus women that are involved in that life transformative program through the Core Life program at the Well, and the 17 worker bees who work at Huns Honey. We are a good neighbor in our community. Our doors are open about every day for a community member to come and get a cold bottle of water, lunch, use a phone call, scan their employment papers, meet with a community advocate. Our doors are open for an entire community for that. So we start broad, being a good neighbor, and then we drill down to these intensive programs and obviously meaningful employment. But I'm gonna let Bobbie tell you more about the products at Huns Honey.
Awesome.
Thanks. So all of our products have either honey or beeswax in them, with one exception, our detox face mask that has royal jelly. So all of our products have bee byproducts in them. We have a range of bath and body products. We have our Huns Honey healing ointment. It's kind of like an old time salve that like our great grandparents would make or something. We playfully say it's our natural Neosporin, but it's amazing for wound care, burns, bug bites, scrapes. A woman had a cancerous spot removed from her face, and within like 2 months, the brown spot had faded to almost not visible. So that's one of our there. Oh, It's blurred. Sarah's holding up one of our products. We have, like Mandy had mentioned, our wash bars, which is a goat's milk soap base. We use natural clays to pair with the essential oils that they both will combine to bring even more so healing for that wash bar at whatever particular scent. We have a lotion bar, which is just a solid form of lotion that it's 3 ingredients. It's coconut oil, cocoa butter, and beeswax. And that you just activate with your skin, rubbing it in your hands. There's the healing ointment she has. It's upside down, but it's all good. Yeah, and so we have beard salve for the guys, but it's also can be used as a pomade, and it stimulates hair growth. So we have that, of course, the candles and our lip balm. And our lip balm, we have 3 different scents. Our original, we have vanilla mint as well as lavender rose. We have sugar scrubs, which we playfully say sugar. and we have seasonal scents as well for the wash bar, for the sugar scrub. So you can check that out on our website and see. And just, all these products, like I mentioned, have healing factors for those purchasing it, but it's also very healing for us. So it's that circle of healing. As we're making it, it's building us up, it's making us proud, and we're learning things, but it's also the pride that we take in that we are sharing something that's healing for others, and that people appreciate and enjoy it. So yeah, and there's a lot more products. You could check us out online though, for sure.
Yes. So we dropped your links in the chat. So go over there and check out what they have to offer. Great. We've got one last question, unless anyone feels inspired to ask anymore. And let's pass this over to Noah. So I was wondering if you are also interested in new ways how to fight honeybee pathogens, and if you think that this new bee vaccine might be useful in fighting honeybee pathogens.
Totally. Right. So we know that bees are important. We've talked about this in so many different ways. We haven't really talked about how bees are dying, and the federal government, is one of our wonderful accounts, has set a goal. As of 2014, there was a presidential memorandum put forward to limit beehive losses at 15% annually. Currently, that number is at 56% annually. And it's just like global temperatures, it just keeps rising. It's a really big problem, and more bees die on a sunny summer day in America now than in a winter blizzard. So it's a crazy problem that needs our help in addressing. The main killer of bees right now is a mite infection. It's called the Varroa mite. It came to the US in 1987, and with it brought many other infections, viruses, bacterial, fungal infections. So the game really changed then, and today there's really no cure for these mites. And yet at Best Bees, what we've done is we started with vaccines, so that it's great to see in the news other companies are doing this too. I'll share a link in the chat to my first TEDx talk where I taught the audience how to vaccinate a bee after spending so many sleepless nights with one individual bee in a little syringe that just injected her with some goodies to be healthy. It was like, I can't do this one bee at a time and save the world. So we started looking at oral medicines and bee yogurt, how to give them probiotics to stay healthy. And it's great to see that starting to catch on. With the particular news recently of the bee vaccine, it's focused on one specific one specific bacteria that it's just like one thing that's killing them. But at Best Bees, what we've started to do with our technology is we have developed a solution with remote sensors and AI and hardware and software upgrades to beehives to kill the Varroa mites. It's an incredible technology that we're actually currently fundraising. So if there are any investors out there who want to support the great things we're doing, we are working on great solutions to bring them to market now to cure bee disease so that we can keep working together with bees for our planet, for our people, and of course, for business profits as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Noah. All right. Well, we don't have any more questions. So I did want to touch on one other thing that I forgot to mention about what other products, programming, and reporting we offer, which is that we did touch on our honey DNA reporting, an incredible, very, very popular piece of our reporting. But another way to get some of those certificates, like the well building, lead certification, those kinds of things, are to engage with our end of year reports, which really takes the entire year of beekeeping, all of the notes that our beekeepers take at your hives, our bee scientists, that they take at your hives, and we condense it and explain it all in one end of year report that can really influence your certifications and your engagement with your community as well. So not only do we have fun products and fun programming for your community, but we've also got the reporting to back it up and make sure that the people that you're sharing this information with have the science to understand, because really once you understand it, you know it. Perfect. Danner asks if you have a photo of you giving a bee medicine, which I would also love to see.
I probably don't, because my hands were so tied with anesthetizing bees and then doing the work, but I can reenact it anytime together. So Danner, I know you're in Berkeley. I mean, amazing work at the hospital. Thank you for your support with training the next group of business leaders to learn from what Hans is doing, from what Best Bees is doing. I mean, it takes a village. So let me throw it over to Hans. And do you guys want to share anything else as we close? Mandy, Sarah, Bobbie?
Oh, I just wanted to thank Best Bees for allowing us to have this wonderful opportunity. You guys are helping to build us. You are partnered in life with us, and that's a beautiful thing. Again, just check us out on the web at drinkatthewell.org and hunshoney.com, and you're part of our community. Thank you for helping us to equip others. Appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. This has been so meaningful, impactful. And if you're interested in bringing these unique engagement opportunities to your property, don't hesitate to schedule a call. We'll just drop a little link in this chat that'll bring you to our Get Started page. And we hope to see you as clients or as community members very, very soon.
And Bobbie, were you about to say something?
No, just thank you, everyone. And thank you for having us, Best Bees. Thank you for your support. And thank you for everyone who jumped on with this and took the time to just hear our hearts and what we're doing. So thank you. And hey, we're always here if you ever want to take a tour and check us out.
Do it. Bobbie, thanks again for sharing your story. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end here.
And yes, we'll share a recording and a follow-up email too. So don't hesitate to reach out anytime. We'll do the same. Thank you again for your time, everyone.
Thank you all.